It was the strangest and most horrifying encounter I'd ever experienced. One summer, my friend Emily and I decided to take a trip to the Great Lakes with my dog Zeus. It was one of the warmest summers I can remember, but that didn't stop us. We loaded our gear and headed to the lake, hoping to lose the fears and anxieties of our everyday lives. We'd been training all summer, preparing for the expedition, which would include hiking, kayaking, biking, swimming, and fishing. We made it to our first camping site well before sunset and chose a little area that was off the trail so that we wouldn't be seen. We didn't want any creepers checking our tent at night. Besides having Zeus, who was a rather intimidating German shepherd, we also carried pepper spray on us. 2 20-year-old girls would make a perfect target out here in the middle of nowhere. After making a little fire, we made dinner and talked about future adventures we could take together. "Where'd Zeus go?" Emily asked. He'd been roaming around the campsite, but we hadn't seen him for a minute. "Zeus, come here, boy!" I shouted, then whistled. Zeus barked, but he didn't come running back. Stay here." I grabbed my flashlight and whistled again. He barked, and I pushed through the growth in the direction he was barking from. It took me a moment to get to him, but I found him sniffing at something hidden in the plants. I crouched down next to him and moved the bush out of the way to reveal a skeleton. I pulled Zeus away as he continued to bury his nose into it. When I pulled him, I accidentally dropped my flashlight. I bent down, trying to find it, and as I walked backwards, I fell into a ditch. I started yelling, telling Zeus to get Emily. I eventually managed to find my flashlight and climb out of the ditch. "Carrie!" I heard Emily screaming from the opposite direction. "Carrie, help!" I ran towards her voice near the lake, but couldn't find her. Then I heard something running towards me, then barking. Emily grabbed me, asking if I was okay. Zeus started licking me. "Wait, are you okay? I heard you yelling for help. I thought you fell into the water." "What? No?" Zeus ran to me and I sensed something was wrong, so I followed him here. "But you said you fell and needed help." "No, I didn't. Carrie, I don't think we're safe out here." "You're telling me? Wait until I show you something." I showed her what Zeus had discovered earlier. When we got close enough, my light revealed strange marks on several of the bones. I'm no expert, but those look like teeth marks. Animals have probably been eating off of it for a while. "I mean, human teeth marks," I said, and Emily looked at it closer. "Well, I don't feel comfortable out here anymore. Let's go back to town and we can report the body. I don't want to be the next one to go. That body has been here for some time, but I agree. Let's get out of here." We went back to our campsite and packed up all our things. I wasn't a fan of hiking in the dark, but I knew that both of us wouldn't have been comfortable sleeping, knowing there was a decaying body nearby. Our hike started out fine. There was a warm breeze, and we didn't have to share the trail with anyone. We'd made it about halfway down when we heard a crackle of thunder in the distance. Emily and I looked at each other with surprise, since our devices had told us there was no rain or thunderstorms in the forecast. We sped up so that we wouldn't get caught in a downpour. The wind didn't feel strong, but above us, the dark gray clouds rolled over and released a few bursts of thunder and lightning. Neither of us had a coat or rain gear, so both of us started cursing at the clouds. As if someone had flipped a switch, The warm air turned cold. "Is that snow?" Emily asked as she rose her hand into the air to catch something. "It is." "What's going on?" We came to a dead end as a light flurry began falling around us. Zeus started growling at something on the trail behind us. I raised up my flashlight to see what he was going off about, but there was nothing there. Then, what I thought was part of a tree shifted and moved out of my light beam. "Did you see that?" I asked as Zeus continued to growl. "Yeah, let's get out of here." I calmed Zeus down and took out my pepper spray. Then we started running through the snow and back down the trail. The feeling of being followed prevailed over me. Emily was so quiet because she felt it too. I don't know what made me decide to look back, but I turned with my flashlight and saw it. Standing on the trail far behind us, there was something tall. It appeared to be standing on its hind legs, but I wasn't sure. I pushed Emily to go a little faster. Then there was a crackling sound coming from the trees next to us. Zeus started barking, and our lights found the cause of the movement. Halfway up in the tree, a bony creature held on tight. It was pale and gaunt, with eyes that glowed. At first, I thought it was some sort of animal. Then it turned to look at us with human-like eyes. The two of us screamed as we ran. A glance back revealed the thing watching us curiously. As we neared the end of the trail, the snow had stopped, and the warmth returned, but we didn't pay too much attention to it. When I flipped on the headlights, the creature was crawling towards the car and licking its lips. It sprinted to our car and started clawing on the door. Emily and I screamed. Out of nowhere, a man and woman appeared, one carrying a torch and gun and the other holding a silver blade. They shot the creature and yelled at us to leave immediately. We thanked them, and I sped out of the lot, tripling the speed limit. When we reached town, we reported our sighting to the police while they took notes that I assume were thrown away once they were done talking to us. I'm not sure what we saw that night, but neither Emily nor I have returned to the Great Lakes ever since. We are lucky to have gotten away, thanks to the two strangers who came to the rescue.